Hey guys, welcome back. AURABOMB here, bringing you another one of my 100 games deck list. This is kind of like a tournament report too, because I just play in the Carta Magica tournament. And I've been playing in a lot of tournaments, but the Carta Magica just happened like 2 days ago, so I actually remember most of the games. And I've been playing a lot of locals. I think all together, with like the 2 tournaments I played and the multiple locals I played, it should be around 100 games, assuming that I play about 3 games in each set, which is not always the case, but is the case sometimes. It's around 100 games with this deck. I figured it was about time to do it. I really enjoy doing it with the WarGreymon build, so today we're going to talk about Mastemon build. Now, a little bit of a background. You guys remember the WarGreymon video, 100 games with WarGreymon. I was very happy with the list, right? And then I was talking about how in my locals, there's a guy who plays security control a lot, and I wanted to try out Mastemon in the list to see if how much I like the Mastemon as a tech. And when I did that, the deck eventually evolved into just being a Mastemon build because I liked Mastemon this much. Mastemon is similar to WarGreymon when it comes to the aggression side, which is the way I usually won games with WarGreymon. Not so much control because people can play around the control, but more the aggression because you can guaranteed to 2 checks with Mastemon alone by evolving and then also attacking, assuming that it's still your turn when you evolve, which is possible because you have Pulsemon, you have Blinding Ray, stuff like that. So I like that a lot, and I was just like, what if I just play Mastemon and like some other level 8-7 or level 6 that works? And I'm in love with this list. It's probably my favorite list in this format. I'm not gonna lie. I really like the Mastemon. It is a little bit. You don't get as much board control, obviously, as you do with a WarGreymon. So if your opponent puts guys on the board, there's not really much you can do about it. But that's what I like about this list. This list has essentially 2 game plans, and that's it. But those 2 game plans are strong enough to win you the game. And that is, the first game plan is, of course, make your board really wide so that they can't do much about it, and then swing for game. Just get some cheeky wins with a combination of Mastemon pulling out Bushi Agumon and then attacking with an Angelomon underneath to get up to another Bushi Agumon, doing 4 swings for game essentially, because the first Mastemon evolves, takes a security, Mastemon attacks, and then you have 2 Bushis that can swing 2 times per game, which means early game you want to get off like 1 or 2 security checks just to put some damage on the board, or just let WarGreymon do that for you. Or the second game plan is recover enough to where you don't lose the game, right? Recover to not lose, which means you'll eventually win, because the more options you recover, the more you can get like 1 or 2 checks here and there, and then eventually you'll be all like, okay, Mastemon, evolve, swing for game, right? So those are the 2 game plans that Mastemon will go for, and it's just strong enough to win most games. So we're going to be going over the list here, and I'm going to be talking about pretty much just the tournament I went to recently. I went 5-3. It wasn't the best record, but I'll explain why. It wasn't fair, but at the same time it was fair because it's something I've never had to deal with before. So it'll make sense when you get there. So if you guys don't mind, drop a like on the video. I know some of you guys come from my channel from the big best decks in set 4. A best decks in set 5 video is coming out soon. It's gonna be, hopefully, it's going to be longer, which is, a good and a bad thing, because there's a lot of decks, but it means a lot of talking for me. But I'll record that video somewhat soon. We'll upload it. It'll be just the decks that are new, or maybe like here and there, like decks that are updated, but updated enough to where it feels like they're new. And then I'll make another one at some point that talks about updated decks, like Ragnar Red. A lot of people like talking about Ragnar Red and stuff like that, so maybe I can do that. And then I'll try to make videos on each deck list if you guys want me to. So drop a like on this video. It's always really appreciated. Share, subscribe, all that good jazz. We're gonna go ahead and go into it. So of course, as our eggs go, we are gonna go ahead and just play the 4-1 split. Drawing cards is good. You really want to get your combo going. You'll get to it. You almost always get to your combo unless your opponent has like a nutty turn with like OTK green and just checks all your security before you even draw like 2 cards. It's always annoying. Koromon is just a decent egg, so we play that as well. Now for the rookies, I am playing for Pulsemon. I know Pulsemon's an expensive card. If you can't afford it, it's actually not a bad idea to cut. If you can't afford 4, like, it'd be nice if you could play at least 2, but if you can't play any, that's fine. My first instincts are to cut the the Pulsemon for Lopmon just so you can get more draws in, because I like playing Pulsemon for the early game draw a lot. It is kind of nice for that memory gain, because you play Mastemon, you go down to 3 memory, you get the Pulsemon from your trash, you gain a memory. So with a TK on board, that means your turn doesn't end, which means you can get those guaranteed 2 checks. It's really good for closing out the game. But if you're closing out the game with Pulsemon, then probably don't need it into mid to late game, so having 2 or 3 is enough. But 4 is just there for security reasons. You could drop, if you don't have the 4 though, and you don't want to play Lopmon, you could easily drop some of these for some Unimons. I think Unimon is like the best level 5 or level 4 you can play in this deck list, because it's 6,000 DP, which means it gets around stuff like WarGreymon and Nidhogg, and it's a blocker, and it's 5 cost to play, so it's actually not very expensive. So I just want to preface this because I know a lot of people don't have the Pulsemons, and I don't blame them. I don't blame you for not having them, but those are the options you have, and that way, you know, you can still play the deck. You don't have to be scared that it's only that, oh, 4 Pulsemons, this deck's expensive. It is helpful, but it's not necessary. You have ways to play around it, because I am playing 16 rookies in this deck list, which is a lot. You don't actually need that many rookies, so keep in mind. I am playing 4 Salamon because, once again, like I told you earlier, we are all about being able to recover as much as we can while also checking security here and there. So 4 Salamons help a lot with that. It's also a good way for memory control. Like if you have a TK down, you can just hard play Salamon, put your opponent at 1 memory, and it's not even that bad of a play, because the following turn you get to attack and hopefully recover. Excuse me, guys. Of course, one of the best cards in the game, Bushi Agumon. I am playing 4. I feel like 4 is mandatory. This is the most important card in the game. You want one not only in your hand, but you want one in the trash. Ideal situation is you keep one in hand and you keep one in trash at the same time. That way, when you evolve into Mastemon, you can get one from the trash and then attack and play another one from your hand using Angelomon, and then boom, you have game. Also, if you have a TK down on 1 Blinding Ray, you can attack an extra time with Bushi Agumon, sometimes closing the game out for game. And then also sometimes your opponent plays some expensive cards, you can just hard play the Bushi Agumon. This is just a good card to always have. I know the immediate problem is that my rookies are not cheap. They're not exactly easy to play down. But it's not terrible, right? You really just want these guys to evolve early game, and then you just kind of build from there. You can obviously slam down Pulsemons whenever you want with a TK down. You can slam down Salamon. You never want to slam down Bushi, but we do have one more rookie that's amazing for what this deck strategy is all about, and that is Tinkermon, which means that you know where this is going. With Mastemon, so I will say with Mastemon and the Tinkermon combo, you almost never do it, but that's not the point of the Tinkermon combo. The point is that sometimes you just want to make your board so wide that either they have to do what they can to control your board, or sometimes mean they have to hard play, or they have to evolve up in the Nidhogg, giving you 4 memory, and 4 memory is enough to evolve from your champion in the raising area into a Mastemon, and then usually do multiple swings per game. So it's kind of like a bait card, as well as it's just another way if you need to end your turn, but you want to end your turn with a wide board, you can evolve in the Mastemon and then get the Petermon, which gets at the Tinkermon. It's also another way to just constantly have board presence, while only giving your opponent usually only 2 memory, because you're going to have a TK on the board, or like maybe even less. Like, board presence is necessary in this deck because you really need to make your opponent play around your big board. And if your opponent plays around your big board, usually it gives you enough memory to pull up a Mastemon and do multiple swings per game. So it's a big bait card. I'm playing 1 Lucemon as well. This card is 100% unnecessary. I like it because I like the recovery. If you don't want to play Lucemon, don't play it. Play Patamon instead. It's really, like, obviously if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I just got the Lucemon recently in the mail, and I finally bought it. I really just need the regular art now, and I finished my set 4 master set, but I really want to try it out, and I liked it, and I thought it did pretty well. Just randomly recover. I never really use this thing to swing or anything like that, but it has been just a nice backup card to have. It is still like kind of a brick though, and this deck has bricked for me a lot more recently, like at least in the tournament, than it has in the previous games I played. So if you don't want to play this card, it's fine. You don't have to. That's it for the rookies and the level 2s. Let's go ahead and move on to the level 4s and 5s, which we're going to go ahead and talk about right now. We got Pitomon, of course, the 1 cost to evolve blocker. I mean, I only really play it because it's 1 cost to evolve while also being a blocker. Excuse me. Other than that, it doesn't really do much. It's 5,000 DP, and which is kind of lame in this format, being able to be put away by Nidhogg and destroyed by WarGreymon, which kind of sucks, but against every other matchup, it's not bad. And there you go. We got the 4 Petermon. Once again, the board aggression. I need you guys to know, I really did not like Petermon at first. I played this card before. I've done it in multiple different decks before. I've never liked it. I never thought it was that good. But in Mastemon in particular, the wide, insano, like 7-8 card boards is just nutty when it comes to this card. I will say, there's not going to be any gameplay in this video, but if you go to my YouTube channel and look at the Digimon live stream, you can actually watch. I streamed the whole tournament, all 8 rounds of my games, if you guys want to check out the actual games themselves. So if you want to look for Mastemon games, the first 2 rounds are just, I know that like the mic quality in the first round is kind of lame, but like in the first 2 rounds, the deck ran smooth as butter. It was really nice. So if you want to see what this deck can do in its most optimal state, check out the first 2 rounds of the tournament. That way you don't have to watch the whole thing, because I know it's long. It can win you games really quickly. I will say, I think I had like 20 minutes in between each round of free time because of how quickly I won some of these games. And the last card in the level 4 slot is 3 GuardianGamingTCG. Another card that I was really like, do I really want to play this? But after playing it, I liked it a lot. At first, I was like, this card feels like kind of feels like it's unnecessary. I'd rather play Unimon. It's a more consistent blocker. But being able to hard play GuardianGamingTCG, if there's 2 Tamers on the board especially, hard play GuardianGamingTCG for just free recovery is really nice. And that's really all there is to it. You can hard play GuardianGamingTCG, which is a level 4, right? Get that recovery, and then evolve it into level 5 the next turn, and then evolve it into level 6 if you need to on that same turn usually. So GuardianGamingTCG really does do the work when it comes to the not losing part of the strategy. Because I know that sometimes when you play a deck and you say you're just doing that to not lose, but you're not doing this to win. In this deck, not losing is winning. It really is. So the GuardianGamingTCG is pretty nice. It's a blocker if there's a purple guy on board. I know that some people like to play cards like Gazimon and stuff in their decks. I personally don't really care for that. You could easily put in a Gazimon though, just to make sure your opponent can't use Blinding Rays on you or Hammer Sparks or something like that. Could be nice if you're playing against blue. I've had some matches against blue where it feels like I either destroyed them or got destroyed by them. And there's some text in this deck to deal with blue, which I'll talk about in a little bit. That's the level 4s. Let's go ahead and talk about the level 5s. We are going to, of course, play the staple, the best card, the best level 5 in the game, probably. AURABOMB, being able to give something a -2 security. Great if you're playing against Imperial Dramon. Because you can just go ahead and stun them and they can't do much against these guys that have multiple attacks. So, yeah, it's good against WarGreymon, good against Imperial Dramon, good against things that can attack you multiple times. So, this is a great card. Also, it beams out level 3s from your hand, which we just discussed all the strong level 3s in our hand. This is great. So, overall, good card. I am playing 3, which is a very high number, of the Recovery AURABOMB, because like I mentioned before, not losing is winning. The Recovery AURABOMB is excellent in this deck, being able to recover whenever you have 3 left security while also evolving. And another great thing about this card, which by the way, I just want to look how beautiful this artwork is, bro. It's a 6 cost to play hard. It's 6 cost to hard play, which is not bad. If you have those hands where you just can't do much, especially if you have a TK down, you can just hard play this guy. And in most games, usually your opponent also has a tamer. This is a very tamer heavy format. Everybody wants to have a tamer down. So you can just hard play this and not really give up too much memory in the process. 7k as well, so which means the only thing that can really kill you is a Chaosmon. So it's really nice overall. I like it a lot. And then my one tech, and I know what you're thinking. No WarGreymon? Where's your WarGreymons? I'll discuss that in a little bit, but I am playing 1 Untitled, which I know it's a vanilla, but it's mega techy in this list and in this format, and I'll explain why. First things first though, no WarGreymon. Why? -4k DP is nice. This format, there's not a lot of guys that just like sit on the board. There's not a lot of weak dudes that sit on the board a lot in this format, like ever. I don't think I've ever gotten a lot of value from WarGreymon, unless I'm like in the mirror match, I guess. But overall, WarGreymon doesn't do much. Sure, making your Mastemon 13k is really strong, because it only crashes with level 7s and Nidhoggmon at that point, but that happens a lot. There's not a lot of 12ks in this format. Most of the Digimon that are level 6 are 11k. If you think about like all the level, I guess there's Hercules, which is getting more popular, and Imperial. But other than that, like everything else seems to be 11k or less. And I don't think the War Greymon is as necessary as people think it is. I don't think the card is as amazing as people think it is. It's a good card, but in this particular format, I've had a lot less use for that card. So I ended up cutting it for the AURABOMB. But then I was having problems because all of my level 5 line gets destroyed by Chaosmon. So I was like, okay, let's just try Untitled. It's AKDP, which has come in handy, especially in the tournament. If you guys watch it, if you watch some of the games, being AKDP means I've been able to beat over guys, level 5s and level 4s that have to just attack me and survive security. And being able to beat over dudes is really nice, especially if you can beat over dudes and then evolve it into Mastemon, which is essentially like taking a security card and making your board wider at the same time. And it's 2 costs to evolve, which means if I go from I can go from a level 3 for my raising area, pull it up, go 1, and then evolve from Pitomon, evolve into Untitled 2, and then end my turn with a Mega. Really good for the Megas that I'm playing in this list too. So Untitled has proven to be super useful. And once again, 8000 DP means it dodges Chaosmon. Either Chaosmon has to hit it twice or Chaosmon has to hit other dudes, which is super useful, especially if you have a really big board. Sometimes your opponent goes, well, you're not gonna beat me. Chaosmon go bird, destroy your biggest dudes. Well, if you have like a board of like 4 or 5 guys and one of them is Untitled, which just happens a lot, right? Because you evolve in the Mastemon, you get a big board, you do your things with Mastemon, and then you evolve one of your level 4s into Untitled, boom. Now your opponent has to either destroy just the Untitled, which sometimes they're forced to do, which means you have 2 more, which means you end your turn with an extra body, because this Untitled can evolve into a level 5 or level 6, and the level 6 are the most threatening part of the deck. Or they kill 2 guys at once. So Untitled, super useful for dealing with exactly Chaosmon and beating over some guys, especially when you're playing against green. I have green. Green likes to attack me with level 5s just to check my security, which is sometimes annoying, but manageable, right? Now let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the cards in the deck, the level 7s and the options and tamers. I am playing, of course, Orb the Babe herself, Mastemon. 12k power. We all know what it does. Mastemon is crazy in this deck, and Mastemon is what this deck is, so for Mastemon. And speaking of which, did you guys see the new Patamon from I almost said Evolving Skies, from the EX Legends set? Bro, it searches the Mastemon. It's because it searches the angel Digimon, and this is an angel Digimon. I wish I could show you, but you guys would probably not read it. Maybe if I do this, but oh no. Actually, right there, Angel Digimon, super sick. Fix that. There we go. So it's searchable. Most of the deck is searchable, right? You got the Pitomon is searchable. All of my level 7s are searchable except for Untitled, level 5, I should say. I always say level 7 because there's 7 costs to play most of the time, and it's pretty handy. So I'm excited to test out that Patamon. And I'm playing as my other Mega of choice, Kentorosmon. I tried a lot of Megas. I tried Magna Dramon, I've tried Slash, I've tried War. And Kentorosmon has done the most for me because Kentorosmon, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you're not losing, you're winning. And Kentorosmon does that to a T. I guess we'll probably show off the good ones in case you guys are trying to remember what the card actually looks like. Kentorosmon can give your opponent's whole board -2 security. I will say that the reason why I was 5-3 and not higher was I actually lost a round of my tournament because I evolved into Kentorosmon, and I was like, Kentorosmon, and kind of like assumed that the effect would go off and said pass, and then after I said pass, I said Kentorosmon effect, but my opponent was just like, can't do that, you passed before you declared the effect, and the effect says up to and not choose 5 targets, which means that it's not mandatory. When it says up to, that means 0 is an option, right? So because I didn't declare the effect, my opponent had like 2 War Greymons on board, and they just won the game because of that. So which is very, very, very unfortunate. I think it's called rule sharking, but I mean, it is what it is, right? I did it to myself. I can't be that mad. But Kentorosmon is really strong. It really does well against Imperial Dramon and other multi-hit attacking decks. And it's just good because if you have this under Angewomon, you still get the Angewomon Bushi Agumon plays. If this thing, it's always fun to attack security with this guy, because if it dies, then something on your opponent's side of the board will also die with it most of the time, which is really, really nice as well. And it's just overall like, hey, give me a turn. And then like imagine you evolve into Kentorosmon and then you end it with a Petermon as well. So like you get 2 extra bodies on board, and now your opponent has to deal with his 2 extra bodies, or they're gonna lose the game. Like I said earlier, widening your board in this deck is so insane, especially when you have cards like Kentorosmon and Mastemon. So deck is crazy. Love the deck. I am playing 3 TKs. Because it's yellow when you play 3 TKs. And the last card in the list, no Kyrie. I despise Kyrie. I know most purple Mastemon players play the Kyrie. I don't like playing the Kyrie. I get that the Kyrie can sometimes be good, especially if you get multiple of them down every time your opponent checks security. Like they have to give up memory, which is really good. But the problem is that you actually have to play it, or your opponent has to check it off security, which is mega lame. I don't want to play the Kyrie. I want to spend my turn playing other cards, not Kyrie. So I was like, oh, screw Kyrie. I'm just gonna play 4 Blinding Ray. Best decision I've ever made. 4 Blinding Ray is so insane in this deck because you're recovering so much. It almost feels like you're playing it for free, right? Because you just let when your Salmons die, you play Gatomon. Blinding Ray is just nutty. Blinding Ray lets you, with a TK, or even without a TK, you can just extend your plays enough to where you can play Mastemon without sacrificing much. And then a Blinding Ray into a Mastemon puts you at 3 security, which then puts you into activating Angelmon's effects, Upamon to draw some extra cards, stuff like that. Blinding Ray with a TK means you can play Bushi from hand for free. Blinding Ray is just nuts. Blinding Ray is also insane because if your opponent does the green OTK thing, and like puts you at high security thanks to Chaosmon, then you're at 6. You're usually at 0 security. You just play your Blinding Ray, 0 security. You just play your Blinding Rays for free, go up to like 10, and then win the game. That's why it's really important against green to get those checks. But green is hard because if they get those early game blocks in, and you can't really do much at that point. Green is actually really difficult. Green is probably the most difficult matchup I'll have with this deck list. I have had green games against green, and you guys can watch it, where like my opponent put me all the way down to 0 security, but the game went on for like 5 turns after that because I kept doing Angelmon, Kentorosmon, recover, put him outside of range, play my blockers, stuff like that. I made it to where they wouldn't win without like having nutty turns, and my opponent eventually got the nutty turn, and I just couldn't draw my way out of that situation. But it does exist. It's insane. This deck is so crazy. I guess I can quickly talk about the tournament. I don't want to be talking too much because my throat is kind of hurting. But round 1, I believe we played the first 2 rounds was yellow matchups, a War Greymon, and we just like 2-0'd them really quickly, set up our big board. Opponent couldn't do much, and we just won. It is what it is. Like Mastemon did its Mastemon thing. Definitely go check out those games. It was beautiful matchups. 4 games in a row where we just had our perfect game plan. That's whenever the 3rd match happened and the Kentorosmon shenanigans happened, and I lost, and I went first game 2, and my hand was just level 5s and level 7s. So one thing I do want to talk about is maybe, I don't really want to do this because then I feel like my matchup against Imperial Blue kind of suffers, but I was thinking about cutting a Kentorosmon here and putting in another level 4, maybe a Unimon, just to have like 12 level 4s in the deck list. Or maybe even, because Unimon is like a decent hard play, but it might be even better to just play another rookie, like maybe just play another, maybe play a Patamon. At the very least, it's a rookie, right? But I'm already playing like 16, 17 if you count Unimon. I feel like that's a lot, and I just got unlucky, I think. But dude, I was mega mad, because imagine if if the Kentorosmon stuck, right? I think I would have won that game, because I had Blinding Ray Bushi. He only had like 1 security left. He was about to evolve into a War Grandma from his raising area, but that wouldn't have been enough to win the game. So if he did attack twice, that's even easier for me to win. He probably wouldn't have. He probably would have played around it because he's probably a player, right? But because of that, game 2 went first bricked. The next card was a rookie, but it was too late at that point. I played down an Angelmon just so I can have a follow play of a Kentorosmon or Mastemon. And maybe I should have just passed. It is what it is. Unfortunately, lost that series. The first series I lost. Round 4 was good. I forgot, what did I play against in round 4? I know I won that game. It was just another easy Mastemon sweep, so I'm assuming it was another yellow deck, because I played against mostly yellow. Round 5 is when I played against green, and I lost against green. The first game I played perfectly. It just, my opponent bricked and I just had the nuts, so I just went off with the Mastemon deck. Game 2, I went first, and I think I misplayed in game 2. I remember thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't have made that play, or maybe I should have just evolved into Kentorosmon. There was something along the lines of that where I misplayed game 2, and I was really upset because I was like, oh, if I just won that game, I wouldn't have to go into game 3 here. And then game 3, I just lost. My opponent had the full nutty setup, and I bricked. Again, as I bricked 2 games. I only lost the games I bricked in, except for that game 2 against Green, which I can't remember for the life of me what I did. But I think I misplayed. But maybe I didn't misplay. Maybe it was a hindsight kind of thing, where I was going off something else. And then I won the following game, and then I lost against an Imperial Dramon, which was crazy because I got the Kentorosmon out, and well, game 1 he just blew me out the water. He just had everything and I didn't have anything, and he was able to attack multiple times with Imperial Dramon, and it was really sad because I was like, to win the game against Blue, you have, oh, I remember Blue now. Blue was so bad for me. To win the game against Dex, you want to make sure that you get like a bunch of checks in here and there, right? Early game checks so you can get the big Mastemon. I don't know why I'm holding off this card. Early game checks to get the big Mastemon like swing for game, right? And I did that, but the first thing I got was a Davis, and Davis got him exactly Dino B Imperial Dramon, and then he went off and blew me away from there, and I was like, all right, whatever. Game 2 was the one that was bad. I was trying to get him down to like 0 security, right? And I did get him down to 0 security. And I remember I had 2 blinding rays in hand, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna use 1 blinding ray, set up my Mastemon, get a bunch of checks in, put him down to 0 security. It's blue, they don't have a lot of removal. Turns out his list did have unfortunately did have a Hokkaido's Breath, and also a Hammer Spark. So what ended up happening was, I had TK down, I had 2 of these, right? I played 1, I did the whole Mastemon combo. I wanted to end my turn with a Bushi attack, or something like. I wanted to end my turn by being able to play. Oh, I remember. I wanted to end my turn by being able to play down a Petermon to like solidify the game, and also not give him too much memory at the same time. I remember I think I had like 1 memory or 2 memory. I had 2 memory because I got like a Pulsemon down at some point, I believe, after the Mastemon combo. So I had 2 memory left. And I was like, okay, I gotta make sure I put him below 3. If I put him below 3, then he has to find a Hammer Spark. He's already used like 2 Hammer Sparks or something like that. And I'll hold on to this Blinding Ray, and then the following turn, even if he does whatever he does to clear my board, like attack my guys a bunch, because he'll be at minus security because I'm ending my turn with Kentorosmon as well. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay, I remember now. Oh man, I'm sorry, this is a mess, guys. Okay, so we did the Mastemon combo. I was gonna end my turn with Kentorosmon, so because he had a big board, he had a huge board. It was like double Imperial, and some other dudes as well, XVmon and stuff like that. So big board, gonna end my turn with Kentorosmon. I swing. I hit memory. I hit Hammer Spark, right? And I was like, okay, I did all this play because I have 2 of these, not just 1 of these. So I played the first one already, right? And then I played the second one so that I could put myself in range to still use Kentorosmon, even though I hit into his Hammer Spark, right? And then I hit into Hokkaido's, which kind of messed me up, but I was like, okay, doesn't matter. I still have the Kentorosmon play I can make. So I evolved into Kentorosmon. If this mon had happened to have like double blocker shenanigans that really messed me up on top of attacking, and I was like, oh man, if I didn't hit both the Hokkaido's Breath and the Hammer Spark, I could have held on to this other Blinding Ray and then did this Bushi game, right? The Blinding Ray Bushi into game. So I was really upset about that, but I lost that game as well. I had that game super locked up, but he just had everything that game that he needed, as well as the best security in the world. So unfortunately, it is what it is. That's what happens. And then I won the rest of the rounds. I played against another green player. No, I played against a red player, and red was like super easy. He was playing really messy. I think he was really tired because he played super messy, and I won that game. And then the last round was like a War Greymon deck that I won, that I beat. So yeah, there's that. So that's the tournament report. It's a lot messier than I thought. I probably should have recorded this right after the tournament, but I was late to work. I was mad late to work. So I had to go. But yeah, that was fun. I really like the Mastemon deck. I've played a lot of games with Mastemon. I want to keep playing Mastemon. I really want to play more against green players because I want to keep testing against green to figure out the optimal plays against them. So if you're a green player and you're watching this video and want to hit me up on Twitter or Discord, please do, because I am looking to do some play testing because my buddies don't play green. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Video of the best decks in set 5 coming soon-ish. Give it like a week and it'll be uploaded, and I'll see you guys next time.